So the first thing you have to do once you identify the right space is you need to negotiate the basic deal that's going to be in effect. And I'm sensitive to this part. As a lawyer, I oftentimes hear my clients say, oh, well, I'll get the attorney to negotiate the lease, or I'll have the accountant or the consultant negotiate the lease. But I want to take a few minutes and explain why that doesn't make sense and why you want the broker to negotiate the basic deal terms. There is a team that needs to be in effect, and later on when we talk about facilitating the deal, I'll explain the roles of all the people in the transaction. But once the space has been identified, there's a few basic parts of the deal that need to be addressed. The first is the rent. What are you actually going to pay to be in that space? And there's a couple of nuances to that. One, you want to make sure you're paying the market rent. So if you're in a market where the rent should be $25 per square foot, that's what you want to pay. And you don't want a consultant or an attorney or an accountant or someone who sells residential real estate telling you what that market rent should be, because only an experienced, licensed commercial healthcare broker knows what that rent should be. So in order to know what the floor of the deal should be, you need to know what that floor is. The information is not readily publicly available. It's not on a website. It's not in a book. It's not in the county courthouse, because commercial leases don't get recorded as a matter of right. And trust me, the landlord's not going to tell you how low he or she's willing to go. So in order to get the best rate, the first piece of advice is you have to work with a professional who knows what the best rate is. If you went in to buy a new car, before you went and talked to the salesman, you would go on the internet and go to a couple of websites and get a feel of the general range of the MSRP for the model you're looking for. You can't do that in the commercial real estate business, so you need someone who knows what that number should be. The other integral part of the deal is how much time is the landlord going to give you to design and build your space, because as a healthcare professional, it's going to be probably anywhere from 3 to 6 months, in some jurisdictions as much as 9 months, to get your drawings, get your permits, bid the job, and build it out. So if the landlord says he's going to give you a month free to build your space and he sounds like he's being your buddy, the problem is in a month you don't even have your drawings done yet. So you need to have a knowledge of how long the process takes and make sure that the landlord gives you that much time, because you don't want to be paying rent before you're in your space seeing patients. Obviously, to build a medical, dental, veterinary, and ophthalmology, optometry office, you're looking in most areas of the country a round number of $100 per square foot, and oftentimes more than that. So with that much of an investment, you want to try to see if we can get some money from the landlord to contribute towards your build out. So if your build out is going to be $200,000, why not try to get 50, 75, 100 on the landlord's nickel? After all, you're going to make a long-term commitment. He or she should play in this game too. But again, in order to know what the market amount of improvement should be, you have to work with someone who has the experience to know what that amount of money is. And it's very important at this stage of the game to get the best deal. We do trade shows all over the country, and my wife, who's our marketing director, she always says to dentists and optometrists when they come up to our booth, she says, you know, you need us in the beginning, the middle, and the end. And you do need that professional representation in the beginning, middle, and end, because once you sign your first lease, every lease renewal that you're going to do throughout your career is based on where you started. So if you start off at 29 years old paying too much rent, you're going to be paying too much rent at 59 years old. So it's important to get it right the first time. So before we talk about the next step, which is going to be to facilitate the opening of your office, it's important to understand the distinction that the negotiation with the landlord to get the best transaction is based 100% by having a thorough market knowledge of deals in that particular submarket.